Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Killamere. This is your city, your voice, coming to you live from the studios of Video Sign Incorporated. That's right. We're not in the studios of 4680Q today, simply because I got the shot in my knee, heard around the world, and I never know whether I'm going to be able to walk or not. So, what I decided today is just to do it right from here. And this is it. So this is beautiful. Not used to having no headphones on. But there's nothing to monitor. I've got my microphone over here. I've got my everything set up right here. Beautiful. So I don't have to walk or go anywhere today. And we'll see how my knee makes out. I'll ice it down later and I should be okay. Now, the background's different, but the show's the same. Your city, your voice, and it's coming to you live. Like I say, well, it won't be live on the radio. It'll be live video. I'll put it up as soon as possible. But yeah, you're going to get to see the show. But before we get to the show, let's get to our sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Shop, our newest sponsor of the show, newest advertiser. So Wild Bill's Auto Repair, look at this beautiful day. I went to the doctor in shorts so I can get the shot in my knee. And it was not that bad out, to be honest with you. We have a beautiful sunny December day. And what the heck? Why not? Geez, it's nice to see the sun. But hang tough, hang tough. We'll do a little bit of weather later. And it may not be so sunny as we move into the rest of today and tomorrow. But the one thing you have to do is make sure your car is ready for winter. I mean, come on, let's face it. Your car has to be ready for winter. You have to take it to Wild Bill and get it checked out. Now, Wild Bill's has he calls it the end of summer special. I'm calling it the beginning of winter special. But if you go in there, he's going to check your car right out and no charge. Suspension, tires, computer scan, fluids, everything. He's going to make sure everything's running top notch. And if there's any error codes on the computer scan, he's going to fix those too. He's going to make sure it's running so you don't break down in the winter. And it's really weird sitting here doing this show without that screen over here and all this other stuff. So if I act kind of weird, that's normal. But at the end of the day, it's because I'm looking for stuff and it's not there. Usually I have a big window out there with people going by and everything. This is bizarre. But Wild Bill's isn't bizarre. He's going to keep your car running for the winter. You're not going to break down. When you get those goofy days, you won't break down. Everything's going to be good. You're going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. Your car is going to be the happiest of all. And nobody's got to break down. Excuse me. So Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Get your car there. Get Ken to check out your car. Make sure everything's okay for the weather that's coming up. We know we're going to get it. It's out there. We're going to get it. No doubt about it. Now, if you get in a wreck, don't worry about it. He's got a full body shop there. He's going to get your car fixed and out in showroom condition. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, by the Kia dealership down there. Give him a call today. Tell him Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you, and make sure that you get your car checked out. I know mine is, and I'm not fooling around with it. Okay, you know what? Lots to talk about today. Lots to talk about. I mean, we dodged the snowmageddon so far. North, 5 feet. East, 5 feet. West, 5 feet. South, 5 feet. Niagara Falls, beautiful sunny day. But it looks like we're going to pay tribute to the snow gods today and tomorrow as lake effect snows move inland, north of the lakes, and mañana. Now, they're saying snow squalls could bring 10 to 15 centimeters. I've heard 1 to 3. So areas in South Niagara, yeah, that's not quite here. We seem to find a line at Netherby Road, and it doesn't snow above that. So hopefully we find it again, right? And we don't get too much. But you know what? A little dusting wouldn't hurt anything. We'll see. But in case these mooks at the weather station are wrong, drive safely out there when you go out there, right? You don't want to get in a wreck. No, we don't want to see anybody get in a wreck. None of our guys. Slow down. Watch for Subarus. They're the most dangerous cars in the world, and the drivers are the worst. It was a great show yesterday with Jody Burdett. Oh man, that was a fantastic show. I had a lot of people messaging me in about it, and I'll talk about the comments on Thursday's show. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about it, and they thought that Jody was an interesting guy and he had a lot to say. And there's some people who said, "Hey, let's get together and do something like this shadow government thing, because you know what, it's needed in Niagara Falls to keep check on these guys." And I'm going, you know what? Great idea. Let's do it. So we'll see. We'll talk about more on Thursday about Jody Burdett's appearance on the show and what he said, and we got to have him back. He wants to talk about the ward versus at large system, which is a big issue. Even though, Councillor Strange poo-pooed it when Councillor Coco brought it up and looked for some kind of a vote on it. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the city residents get what they want, and a lot of them have asked for a ward system to come back. Hey, nothing wrong with looking into it, seeing what we can do about that. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what Jody's going to do too. Because I think his comment was something like, once Lori was turned down in council, that's a dead issue for her, basically, right? So somebody else has to pick up the ball, and he's the guy who said he's going to do it. And I'm happy about that. So if you get a chance, watch that video. I think you're going to find it interesting. That's yesterday's video with Jody Council from the Shadow Council of the City of Niagara Falls. And he explained all that in there too. So check it out. I think you'll like it. Now, there wasn't a lot happening this weekend in the city. And we didn't talk about anything that was going on the weekend yesterday because Jody was in. So there isn't a lot of news to speak of. It's been cold, and people don't want to go outside and mess around, I guess. I don't know. I noticed there was a pretty big ceremony, though, Mounties and all, to do with the 200th anniversary of the Welland Canal groundbreaking. So, yeah, that's a big deal. The Welland Canal is considered one of the top engineering feats in the world of all time, right? So it's their 200th anniversary, and they had a ceremony at the Pain in the Ass Allenberg Bridge, and Thorold celebrated with a turning of the sod ceremony, marking the date 2 centuries ago, November 30th, 1824, where the first shovel went into the ground at the spot of the Allenberg Bridge. And that was the start of the construction of the Welland Canal many years ago. Now, the canal we see today is not the first attempt. Everybody thinks, oh, we got the Welland Canal. Oh, that's good. No, there's been 4 different Welland canals, believe it or not. And the first one used the rivers and streams to get ships from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. Can a ship climb mountains? That they can, with 40 wooden locks to accomplish the journey. The boats weren't that big in those days. They were more barges. And sometimes they were pulled by horses and stuff into the locks, back in the day. I mean, talking the 1800s here, right? Early 1800s. The first one up through the Martindale Port Dalhousie area at 12 Mile Creek, and basically with horses pulling barges through Meryton and Thorold, and finally to the Welland River at Port Robinson. Then they meandered down the Welland River to Chippewa. And in those days, Chippewa was really a major hub, because all these boats, before they entered the Niagara River, would stop in Chippewa. And it was a major hub of activity at that point. The first taverns and inns of the falls were there. A lot of people made a lot of money in Chippewa. Chippewa was a going concern back there called the Jewel of Niagara. And once they stopped in Chippewa, then they'd head on to the Niagara River, go up the Niagara River to Lake Erie, right? So that was the big deal, and that's how they did it at first. But eventually they got rid of the Welland River part and cut a channel straight through to the lake through Port Colborne and that kind of thing. And they also had a feeder that went over towards, I think it was not Port Dover. I think it was Port, somewhere just past Port Colborne there, one of those little ports in there. But they did get to the Grand River and come out there as well. Oh, geez, at the other end of the lake, at Lake Ontario, we had Port Dalhousie, and then eventually it was changed over to Port Weller in that section. And there was only 8 locks needed once they did the final leg from the Welland River straight through Welland to the Lake Erie. And then the other journey, instead of Martindale in the 12-mile creek, they just cut a channel straight through to Port Weller area, Port Dalhousie, and that was where it came out. So there was only 8 locks to climb the escarpment at that point. Now, as technology changed, so did the canal. Better locks, bigger ships, the need for wider and deeper channels. Um, and it was protected by the military through 2 world wars. They were worried about U-boats and that kind of thing getting into the canal and getting through it. And they watched the canal. There was actually had military guards on it. An important channel to get between the two lakes. I mean, before what you had to do was, come to Niagara Falls and then get out of the river and portage down Portage Road. That's just over here now on my left, and finally make your way to Niagara Lake and get back into Lake Ontario. So now there's a talk of a fifth Welland Canal. It was planned to bypass most of the existing canal to the east and to cross the Niagara Escarpment in 4 twinned Panamax locks, which would allow bigger ships to pass. The land was expropriated and designs made. The project was shelved, though, whether it was money or whatever. It was shelved. The version of the canal was planned to last until 2030, the existing one. So they figured by 2030 they'd need a new one, but subsequent improvements and ongoing work have extended its 100-year lifespan. They expected it to last 100 years. This canal was built in 1930, the way you see it now. So they figure it would last 100. Now it's going to last more. And unbelievable. Sometimes we take it for granted. And if you ever go down there and sit at lock 7, I think it is by Thorold there. I think that's lock 7, or is that lock 3? I don't know. But you go down there and you watch it and you go, holy crap, this is amazing. Watching those boats go up and down and go through the locks. So great thing. Congratulations and happy 200th to the Welland Canal. There you go. That was a big thing that happened this weekend. Now over to back to Niagara Falls here, but I noticed they raised the rates for parking at the hospital. Now, parking at the hospital is a contentious issue as it is. People are going there to visit sick people, and they have to pay $16 a day if they're there for, I don't know, let's see, it's $3 for every half hour. If you're there more than 6 hours, it's, you're gonna exceed the $16. 5 hours is your breaking point that you pay, $15. One more hour and it's $18. And at that point, you're at the maximum $19 per day. That's what they've raised it to, from $16. And like I say, $3 for every half hour you're there. A mobile pass is available for $96 now, which is a good option for anyone. You can just figure it out if you're there a lot, or if you have 2 people going and they're there an hour each, couple hours each, you're looking at $6, $12 a day times 30 days. It's a lot more than $96. You're better off just to buy the pass for the month and then just share it. Here, your turn, play sharesies. But parking fees at the hospital bother a lot of people. And a lot of people are talking about this. And I can't blame them, because you're going there to visit a loved one that's in distress. They're in the hospital for a reason. They're sick or whatever. And you get nicked for all this money to go visit them. And there's not much you can do. Where are you going to park? I mean, this Niagara hospital, you try to park on the street during visiting hours, not a chance. Those are full. So you have to park in the lot, or you got to park on a side street, pretty long way away, because most of those side streets, they've taken parking off them just because they know people park on them, right? So, yeah, what are you going to do? It's the way it is. There's not much you can do about it. But people really don't like it. And I don't like them raising it either. I mean, employees have to park there, and you have to go visit, you got to park there. And I realize that they have to raise money, the hospital, right, to maintain the parking lot, that kind of thing. But is it really that expensive to maintain? I don't know. And, it seems like picking your pocket at a time when you have somebody in there that's sick and you're going to visit. It just doesn't suit me as right. But the bottom line is the bottom line, right? And I know a lot of people have posted it on Facebook about the rates going up, but it is what it is. There's not much you can do about it. They raised them. That's the way it's going to be. So you got to cough up or get dropped off. Or, I mean, the sad part is public transport, transit in this city sucks. So it's not like you can just jump on a bus and get there. You take 2 hours to get there on the bus, transfer here, transfer there, over here. You go from my house to the hospital. I got to probably stop that way and then go down over that way and then up to Main Street by the Prospect Hotel there, the old Mints, and then come back to the hospital or some crazy schedule. And I'm better off to walk. It's only like 5 minutes from my house here. It's a short walk. But anybody who's longer away, they don't have that option, right? So they've got to take a transit, and transit's not very good right now in this area. So another brick in the wall of taxes, utility, groceries, gas, other necessities. They slowly take you to an encampment. They can't understand why people are on the streets. Well, it's all these little things that add up. The only eights of the world. Oh, it's only $1.45. It's only $8 a month. It's only this. So you add them all up, and this thing. And even when you go to see sick people, you're doing a good thing to go visit your sick friends or your family, and they still pick your pocket. Not much you can do. That's the way it is. Comments on that? What do you think? You think they should up these fees? Do you think they should drop the fees? I'd like to see them drop them totally. Forget about paying for parking. That's just me. So get this. When we talk about the crime and the crimes and criminals and everything else in this world we live in today, migrating down the QEW. Well, 2 Ontario men were stopped by Illinois State Police on the internet, on on Interstate 80. I got Internet 80 written down. Interstate 80 in Illinois, driving a Volvo semi-trailer. And during the inspection, a search of the truck revealed 1,146 pounds of cocaine, about $40 million worth in the truck, right, of cocaine. So, these guys are wondering where the drugs are coming from in Canada. Where are these drugs coming from? Well, here's 2 guys, 27-year-old Vanshpreet Singh and 30-year-old Manpreet Singh, both of Ontario, Canada, were the ones that were going to hit the border and smuggle it in. It's funny, the local paper wouldn't publish the names, but I did search them out on the internet, and they don't want to publish the names when it's offshore people for some bizarre reason. Maybe they feel there's going to be a backlash, but the bottom line is we hope that these guys are thrown away for good in the U.S. and they don't come back to Canada. And once Trump finishes with these woke criminal systems in the United States, perhaps Canada will follow suit. So if these guys are charged there, they're going away. Unless somehow they can get extradited back to Canada, which we've seen happen before with the terrorists and criminals. They get sent here and then they get paid money for some bizarre reason. I think these guys are going to do time in the States, so no fooling around. Although Illinois is kind of especially some of the cities is sometimes. I think they're a red state. The lies there might take these guys and put them away. But in Canada, of course, if they got caught in Canada, the deportation, detainment, and incarceration aren't the things that we like to do in Canada. So these guys will probably get in, get out on bail. Yeah, go ahead, $25. You're open the street again. Then they take off to wherever they're from, and the turnstile keeps turning in our courts. And some of these judges just have to go. They have to go. Got to elect them, like I keep saying. Crime is epidemic with no end in sight, and we all know who the perpetrators are. There's no question about who they are. The police know. There's not a damn thing they can do about it right now. And if you can excuse me for a minute, I'm going to grab a bottle of water here. because talking so long gets to you. Let me grab a bottle of water. I'll be back in a second. Don't go away. Okay. Got my trusty bottle of water. I'm back. I'm back. So basically, yeah, we'll see what happens to these two guys. I don't know if they're going to come back to Canada or not, but at the end of the day, let's hope they're thrown away. It's a lot of cocaine. They weren't just doing it, and hopefully they can convince them maybe to take a little bit lighter sentence and give up the guys who are behind it, because these two guys, they weren't running half a ton of cocaine over the border. They were doing it for somebody else. Now, what about this Postie strike? I had a great conversation online about it, and they're angry. Oh, they're an angry group of people. I mean, they really want raises and everything else. But I gotta say, they're missing what happened to the bread man and the ice man and the coal man and the milkman. And they don't understand what they're doing here, I don't think. Sure, the union said go on strike. Yeah, the members voted to go on strike. But, every time they do something like this, it just makes them less necessary. And me personally, I don't care about strike. You want to go on strike, go on strike. Try to get what you want. Why not? Everybody else does in this world, right? But the problem is, for me personally, I don't get anything in the mail anymore. Seriously, I get fast food restaurants. I get the Canadian Tire flyer in the mail, but nothing I really need that's essential comes through the mail. And most people learn during COVID that you have other alternatives that you can use other than Canada Post. And it makes me laugh because at the end of the day, I mean, seriously, we sat here for COVID. People were off work and everything else. And what did they do? They were online. They were on the internet. Somebody would say, hey, you can pay your bills on the internet. Oh, yeah, really? Okay. They set up the accounts. E-transfers, they set up the accounts. Oh, I can order my stuff from Amazon. I can't go out to stores. They're not open. Or whatever. I'm not wearing a mask and I'm not getting vaccinated. They won't let me in. And they said, fine, I'll just do my business other places. That's all. I don't have to go to Walmart. I got Amazon. They'll deliver right to my door. Why fool around with that? And I know a lot of local businesses were saying about small business, support small business and that. But at the end of the day, the rigmarole you have to go through to go into one of these places, I mean, lining up outside, waiting, and then following arrows in the store. And then you got to put up with the numbskulls who are telling you you're going the wrong way. Oh, you're going against the arrow. Like walking against the arrow is going to give them COVID. But these people were radicals. They were insane. And this is what you got when you went out. So I'm going, why am I going with the Canadian Tire? Everybody's looking at you. And I don't want to wear a mask. I'm not wearing a mask. They won't let you in if you don't wear a mask. I go in anyway. I'm walking against the arrows. I don't pay attention to the floor. Everybody's yelling at you like you're going to give them COVID or something. These people, they were insane. And so I just said, I'm not going out anymore. Screw it. Why am I going? And then with the vaccinations, they wouldn't let me in places. They were blaming me for spreading COVID, but they wouldn't let me in anywhere. I couldn't spread it even if I wanted to. But that's the kind of thing that happened. And people just learned there's alternatives. You don't have to put up with this crap. And as technology improves in the generation that wasn't savvy to using the technology, all these online payments and transfers, there's still people who go stand in line at the bank and have their bank book and that kind of thing. Well, they're going by the wayside. They're the baby boomers, the older generation, me. They're dying. Or they're getting savvy and they're learning how to use this stuff. So mail's becoming less and less necessary. And I think that the post office is finding this out. They thought they were an essential service. Couldn't do without them. Well, for 3 weeks, everybody's done without them. And I don't hear a lot of people complaining. Not at all. The people I hear complaining the loudest are the people who are either posties or married to posties or something like that. But basically, who needs them anymore? We really, really don't need them. A small percentage of the population does, but they're finding out after 3 weeks they're not essential services. And by the way, at this point, they've really shaken the dice and rolled snake eyes on this one, because now, if you were going to get a parcel from Aunt Millie in a Tulsa, Oklahoma, your fruitcake, you are not going to get it. They're 3 weeks behind. By the time they clear the backlog, you won't be getting it for Christmas. For 22 days from Christmas, you ain't going to get it. And they're going to be on strike for a while, because I don't think anybody's sending them back as an essential service. So they've got to make a deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, they'll be out months. And once you get by Christmas, then what? Then what? I mean, you give a few months and people are just going to look for alternatives. Oh, I'm not getting my pension checks, or I'm not getting this check or that check. Well, they go online and tell people, e-transfer them the money. I don't want checks. E-transfer me the money or whatever. There's technology you can use to bypass the postal system. And believe me, Gen Xers and millennials, they know how to use technology. They were born into it. So they know full well how to make the most of it. So what does all this mean? Well, at the end of the day, posties are gonna go the way of the milkman. They're going the way of the milkman and the iceman and the coal man and the bread man. They'll no longer exist, and they won't be able to strike. In my humble opinion, especially at Christmas, to try and hold the taxpayers hostage for Aunt Millie's Christmas fruitcake coming in from Walla Walla, Washington, it's just really making people mad. They're not accomplishing. They're not getting sympathy. I saw, oh man, it had to be 150 posts on one post, and most of them were screw it, get rid of them. They're overpaid, as it is, and of course they're making their case for how hard the job is, right? And we're going like, well, okay, it's hard. So why do you do it? Why does anybody work for the post office if it's so hard? We have to work in all kinds of crappy weather. I don't want to do that. We have to deal with this. I don't have to, they give me there's a whole list of things that blah, blah, blah. But there were terrible, terrible things they had to go through to be a postman. I just said, like, I wonder why anybody wants this job in the first place. I mean, they could get jobs that aren't so dangerous and not that terrible. I don't know why. But, I'd love to see some of these carriers in the old days when we had, they here up Sears catalogs out. Holy crap, they had to lug those around in their bags, or the telephone books, or the Eaton's catalog, or some of this other stuff. So if they think they have it bad now, we just saw before now. I mean, they're delivering flyers. They're glorified paper boys a lot of times, because that's what I get. I don't get any mail. So the lively discussion ended, and everyone was mad at me for telling it like it is. And it doesn't surprise me, because the truth always hurts. Truth always hurts. A lot of the comments on Facebook are anti-post office, and I understand why. People are pissed off. They chose to go on strike, and they don't feel sorry for them. Yeah, they don't feel sorry for them at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of opinions have to do with getting rid of the post office once and for all, or privatizing it. And I don't think that the strike's going to be settled soon. I just don't get that feeling. You get the feeling they're going to say no, because the government's not sending them back, and people are missing them. That's the whole thing. As a matter of fact, the post office is laying some of them off, and they're crying about that. But the bottom line is, your collective agreement is done. So now you run under Canadian labor law. That's all you've got. And if there's no business, then you got nothing. You're laid off. And they missed the boat now, because Black Friday is a big day when people order a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of deliveries and that kind of thing. and a lot of people mail their stuff early. Well, that's all done. Nobody did it because they strike before Christmas, and everybody said, "Well, I'm not sending it. We might not get it there." So everything's held up wherever it is. There's no mail moving, and there's even going to be less when they come back. They'll clean up the backlog, and then that'll be it. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So I don't know what's going to happen to them. I don't think the strike's going to be settled soon. The need right now for them is low. Christmas season and mailing is gone, and they're not going to get through the backlog anyway. You mail something today, even if they strike till next week and go back with 2 weeks, they're not clearing the backlog in 2 weeks. No way, no way. I mean, I know there's not that much mail, but there still is mail, and it still has to be sorted and separated and delivered, and they have to clear up a 3-week backlog. And the longer it goes, the bigger the backlog is, the more time it's going to take to clear it up. And once they get it cleared up, there'll be nothing because nobody's mailed anything for the last 4 weeks. They'll clear up the backlog, and there won't be anything. There's still going to be a lag. So, what are you going to do? They want to go on strike. I don't understand it. To me, they're writing their own pink slips. And that's the bottom line. The best comment of the day regarding this on Facebook. Well, here's the comment. I got to laugh out of this one. The person said, "I didn't even know they were on strike until I realized I was out of Kentucky Fried Chicken coupons." So that about says it all. That about says it all right there. What do you think the future is of the post office? Leave comments on the video and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up, thumbs down, hit the notification button so you know when I post another video. I'll be posting this one today is going to be there by 2 o'clock, although I'm talking like somebody's listening to me live and they're not. But yeah. So give me your thoughts. Post office, good or bad? Yes or no? Should they be on strike? Should they settle a strike and get back the hell to work? I'd say they should get to work as soon as possible because every day that ticks by is getting less and less looking like they are an essential service at all. They thought they were. They're finding out they're not. Nobody's sending them back to work. The only one who's sending them back to work is themselves. And I see them standing on the picket line, and I wish them all the best, but the writing's on the wall, and it has been for a long time. And if they don't realize it and don't recognize it and try to hit a home run on a contract, it's not going to work out good for them. Give me your thoughts. So let me get to my second sponsor of the show, and that is Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza. And I wish I had a Victoria Avenue pizza right now. What a great time around lunchtime here. And I'm a pizza snob. And there's only so many pizzas that I'll eat. I just don't like a lot of pizza. It's got to be done right. And Mike at Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Mike knows how to do it. He really does. He worked in an Italian restaurant for 15 years. He uses the Mancini family recipe. It's been around for 40 years. They've had Pete's Pizzas in the Niagara region. First one in St. Catharines, 40 years ago it opened. Their sauce, their crust, all Mancini family recipes. It's fantastic. Now, Mike, being the savvy guy he is working in the Italian restaurant, he's taken Saputo mozzarella and mixed it with brick, blends it together with brick cheese, and you get that nice stretch and that great taste to that combination. I use it at home. Plus, he puts cornmeal on the bottom. Good pizzerias use cornmeal. They know. And he cooks it perfect. He's got the right ratio of cheese to sauce. Not overwhelming, not too much cheese. It's beautiful. But you know what? They don't even have just pizza. They have phenomenal wings. The wings there I really like. They're really good, and I'm a wing snob too. But they have a full menu: steak and cheese poutine, any kind of regular poutine. They have hot subs, steak subs, panzerotti. They have a whole mixture of all different things on the menu. You're going to find something there you like, I guarantee it, and it's all good. All the stuff I had was good. Now, how do you get this? You dial 905-374-2222 or go to petespizzavictoria.ca and you order your pizza. And by the way, just so that you know, because it's the 40th anniversary, they're offering 2 medium pizzas with 3 toppings on each for $25. Of course, you got to pay tax, right? Although, maybe not after the 14th of December. $25. You got 2 great pizzas. You can't beat it. It's just special till the end of December, actually, the end of the 40th anniversary. So get yours today. Buy one, freeze one. That's what I do. I freeze it and I pull a couple pieces out whenever I feel like having pizza, which is every day. Anyway, Pete's Pizza, Victoria Avenue. You can't go wrong. Give them a call and they'll get you a nice pizza. They're open till 11. I think they're open till 10 or 11 during the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday till 2 in the morning for your convenience. Can't beat it. Go and have a drink, order a nice pizza. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you, and please support our sponsors because they support the show. Thank you very much. Now, Trudeau, complete panic. He's in a complete panic. I've been watching the Parliament sessions, and these guys are whack. These liberals, they're whack. They know they're going the way of the dodo as well. But he's complete panic since the boss took over the U.S. government. He flies to Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with Trump and claims he had a very productive dinner. Now, the conservatives say he came back with nothing except a full stomach. Yeah, he didn't come back with anything. So Trudeau is going down there with Trump. He says they discussed a number of key issues, including border safety, illegal drug trafficking, and trade. Now, if you remember, last time Trudeau was in Canada, Trump was in Canada to meet with Trudeau, Trudeau mocked Trump after he left. As soon as he left, Trudeau made a disparaging remark about him. And Trump wasn't impressed with the snotty-nosed, silver-spoon kid we call our prime minister, and he made it clear he didn't like this guy. Now, Trudeau made a commitment to work with the U.S. to end this terrible devastation of U.S. families by these people, the illegal aliens, illegal immigrants coming over the border. Trump's assessment of the meeting was he's got to make a commitment to help us to fix this border problem where you're getting a 25% tariff. That's it. And if they want to monkey around Trump, go ahead, man. Trump is known to keep his word. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. Now, they also spoke about such topics as energy, trade, and the Arctic. Issues that Trump says he's going to be talking about on his first days in office. So he's going to be returning on January 20th. And believe me, the executive orders are already made. They're sitting waiting. By 1 o'clock on January 20th, after he swears on the Bible, executive orders are going to pour out of the White House. They're already done. He knows exactly what he's going to do. But you know what? All this and a toonie will get you a coffee at foreign-owned Tim Hortons. There was not one indication that Trump has changed his mind on the 25% tariff. And Trudeau never really gave him anything to make him say, I'm going to get rid of that tariff. So he has 48 days to strengthen the border. He's got to secure the energy, and he's got to step up on national defense if Canada wants to avoid the tariffs. Okay, Trudeau has a record of open borders, lenient sentences for drug dealers, and favoring terrorists and terrorist nations. Remember, he gave $10.5 million to a terrorist that murdered U.S. soldiers. So the odds of Trudeau doing a 180 and changing his whole ideology in 48 days is probably not going to happen. We're not going to see it happen. Stay tuned to see how it plays out. If I were Canadians, I would expect 25% tariffs to go into effect on January 21st, 2025. Trudeau talks and talks, but let's see what he does. And he's got to make a move. Every premier in Ontario is telling him, do not push this issue. We've got to strengthen our borders. We've got to do everything we can to comply with what Trump needs help with. And he's not telling us we have to. He's saying we want the help, and you guys got to help us. And if you don't, we're putting a 25% tariff. And the premiers are going, do not take it lightly what he says. Don't joke around with this guy because he'll do it and he will do it. And he'll do it for until they straighten out the situation. Now, of course, Canada's preparing for an influx of these illegal aliens, these refugees, like he did before. He's going to let them all in if he has his choice. You know that. That's what he does. That's his demeanor. I mean, they're getting encampments ready in Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver already for these expected influx of these people that Trump is kicking out. And if they were smart, they just close the border and say, no, you're not coming in. And then also close the border and say, no, you're not going to the States. You're not going over our border illegally. Stop them. So I don't know. Pierre Poilievre, the PC guy, said that Trudeau was weak and without brains or backbone to deal with Trump. Okay, a bold statement, but I don't call it false. I don't call it false. It is what it is. It is what it is. And he better listen to Poilievre, and he better listen to the premiers. And if anything happens, the best thing that could happen is we call an election and we move this guy out. Goodbye. See you later. That's it. You're done. Poilievre, get in there. Hopefully he gets in with the majority, or else they're going to undercut him anyway. They're going to undermine him. The NDP with Jagmeet Singh, who signed a paper or threw away a paper that had their agreement in it and said he wasn't going to go by that anymore and blah, blah, blah. Big bunch of baloney. He votes with the Liberals all the time. He supports them. Now he's going to have to take a stand. He's going to have to take a stand because supporting the Liberals is basically a knockout punch. You got to take them down. You got to get them out of there. And you got to let a new government take over by election. If they elect to do it, I don't know if they're going to do the election or not. This spring, we're hoping this spring, or they wait till the next election, which I don't know. Is it 2025 or 2026? Whichever it is, it's going to happen eventually. But the sooner the better. And if they could take this government down now, it'll be a great time. And I think yesterday there was a call for a non-confidence vote. I don't know how it worked out. I didn't see the final rendition, but I'll talk about it Tuesday if there was. And that's the end of that. When it comes to protecting America, Trump is serious. It's America first. He doesn't say make Canada great again. He says make America great again. He's not joking around. Okay, I have a whatever happened to question. A couple of whatever happened to questions today, because it's popped up lately, and I said, oh geez, yeah, what happened to that? The first one was whatever happened to the White House cocaine. You remember, cocaine was discovered in lockers by the front door, and the Secret Service did a big investigation as to who was responsible for putting it there. Now, this is the most protected building in the world, and they've got cameras everywhere. I mean, you got to go through metal detectors and screenings just to get in, even for a tour. And you know what? They don't know who put this cocaine in this locker. Now, you're not just going to walk into the White House with a pair of gloves and that, so you can put the cocaine, which is in a plastic bag and would have fingerprints on it. Plastic is, it lets the oils from your hands sit on top. Well, yeah, they're going to be able to raise fingerprints if there is any. So how are you not going to have fingerprints? Well, you're going to have to grab it with a pair of tongs or something, or gloves. You can walk into the White House with gloves on. I mean, who does that? So somebody knows who did it. Somebody knows who put it there. They're not talking. They're keeping it quiet because it was probably somebody in the government or the cabinet who did it. And there's sorry, cameras watching all the time. So they're definitely going to see somebody on the camera going into that locker and putting it in there. And the keys are all registered for all those lockers. They know who's got the keys. Locker number 50, here's the key. Who had it on that date? So there's something really fishy. They know who did it. They know. They know exactly who did it. But they're not going to tell us. Guess what? That's all done. Anybody who runs the Secret Service, Kash Patel, you name it, one of these guys is going to investigate this and find out who left it there and why it wasn't reported. They're investigating all the three-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, SS. They're all going to get investigated. There's no doubt about it. My point is, once Trump is in, they're going to go after this and find out. A lot of people think it was a delivery for somebody else. In other words, somebody got in there, left it there, and somebody was going to pick it up. Who? We don't know, but we are going to find out. Stay tuned for this one. It's not over by a long shot. The second whatever happened to was the strange case of D.B. Cooper. Although the FBI has closed the file on that, some new evidence has been revealed that basically wraps the case up. So if you remember, D.B. Cooper was a guy who hijacked a plane in Seattle and told the crew that he had a bomb and he was going to blow it up unless they gave him $200,000, got him $200,000. Of course, they called authorities. They got $200,000 in cash, marked bills together. And he wanted that and some parachutes. They landed the plane. He let everybody get off. They brought on the 200 grand and the parachutes. The plane took off, headed for Mexico City. But when the plane just took off and started going, D.B. Cooper grabbed a parachute, grabbed the bag with money, jumped out the back of the plane, never to be seen again. Never to be seen again. And his name on the manifest was D.B. Cooper, and nobody to this day really knew who it was. Now, there's a couple of people they suspected of being D.B. Cooper, but they couldn't prove it. An international manhunt took place. No clues, nothing. Many years later, 3 bundles of money washed up on the shores of the Columbia River, and they looked at the bills and said, yeah, that's from the 200,000. So they found some of the money. A lot of people think D.B. Cooper couldn't live. He probably died. Well, going down the road, this guy named Richard McCoy, his family suspected it was him all along. And he was questioning that, but nothing. So D.B. McCoy died, and he was arrested and charged with trying to pull off a similar stunt in Utah. So that pointed it to him for sure. Now, lately, his wife also passed on. So the family has come forward with the parachute he used, which was in the family garage at the time. So the parachute he gathered up so nobody would find it and took it with him wherever he went. He might have had a car waiting for him. Nobody knows. And apparently this parachute was in the garage all the time, and they knew he did it, but they weren't going to say anything. But now that the mother died, they came forward with it. And it's the parachute Cooper used. So it appears that this guy, McCoy, is the real McCoy. And that brings the case to an end as far as the authorities are concerned. They got the parachute that was given to them. They knew what it was when they gave it to them. They registered everything they gave them, the money, the equipment. And that was the end of that. And that's it. Now, how many years later? I think it was when the heck was that? 1970s? Early 70s? Maybe 60s. So 60 years later, it's solved. There you go. The real McCoy. Richard McCoy was the guy. He was D.B. Cooper. Now, going back to the White House while we're still in the U.S., something that they said would not happen has happened. But it didn't surprise me knowing how the White House is inhabited with liars and criminals for the last 4 years. So Joe Biden said, I don't know how many times, I will not pardon Hunter. Nobody is above the law. Hunter will not receive a pardon. I will not do it. His press secretary said the same thing. We said it once, we said it again. He is not going to pardon Hunter. Well, guess what? Hunter's pardoned. And not only is he pardoned for the gun charges, federal gun charges, he's pardoned all the way back to January the 1st, 2014. So imagine that 10 years ago, anything he did, and that's when I think it was in the spring, March or something like that, he jumped on with Burisma after or leaning on the Ukrainian government. He got onto Burisma, was making $83,000 a month for doing nothing. Well, guess what? He's exonerated from anything since January the 1st, 2014 until December the 31st, 2014. So last 10 years, he's immune to anything. He can't be charged. All the charges are dropped. Everything's dropped. He's pardoned. Now, I've heard of pardons before, but retroactive pardons like that for 10 years? I mean, he took a lot of money from Burisma, China, Russia, probably Iran. The guy was in everybody's pockets and used his dad's position to grab everything. Quid pro quo Joe. And 10% went to the big guy, Joe Biden. But, he's out. He's off. Nothing they can do. And that includes the gun charges. He's not going to be going to the Hoosgow. Now, some pundits say that the reason hair-sniffing, baby toe-sucking Joe said he wasn't going to pardon him is that Joe really believed in his foggy brain that Kamala was going to win. And that when Kamala won, she would just pardon Hunter. And technically, Joe didn't lie because he didn't pardon him. It would have been Kamala, but that wasn't to be. So now he had to take action, and he gave him that wacky pardon. And he couldn't wait till the last minute because now they're threatening to get rid of him, put Kamala in, or take him down with the 25th. So he had to do it right away. He's got 48 days, right, or something like that, and he might not even be totally functional. Who knows? He's in such bad shape. So he did it right away. But you know what? Hold on there just a dadgum second. Sleazy Hunter is not immune to state charges. So the federal charges are gone, but the state charges could be brought against him from the states where he committed crimes, like illegal guns, drugs, hookers, strippers, and everything he was involved with. If Trump wanted, he could definitely drop some charges on this guy. I mean, he couldn't himself, but he could definitely talk to people in the states in power and say, let's get this guy. But I don't think he's going to. I don't think Trump's going to. I think Trump's going to just let sleeping dogs lie and call it a day with this bum. And if he does anything after December 31st, which when Joe's out, he'll be out of power too. He's done. Then he's going to be in trouble. But Trump has bigger fish to fry. Make America great again, than all this baloney. So I don't think that he's going to do anything. But if they poke him, if they make something out of anything, I think that's when Trump's going to start using his power to do the same thing. And if he pardoned Hunter, wouldn't it be nice if he pardoned Trump? Yeah. There you go. So over to my third sponsor. And a lot of times around the house and that, you have things that break, metal things that break. And you really just don't know where to go to get them fixed. You sit there going, geez, if I go buy a new one, it's $1,000. If I can get this one fixed, it's $200. Where do you go? Well, where you go is to Hamel Machine Shop. That's right. Hamel Machine Shop not only can fix anything you have, they can custom make anything you need. So if you need something made for your house, brackets, any welding, any custom manufacturing, a set of gates for your backyard, instead of wooden gates, you put a nice metal gate. They can customize it, fabricate it, design it for you, do everything right in their shop. And I've got to ask them if they can get powder coated. They probably can get it powder coated for you too, so you have a nice paint job on it. They've been in business in Niagara Falls since 1948, and they're really, really involved with the community as far as working for the city, fixing and repairing their equipment, and for the region, for everybody. A lot of people go to Hamill Machine Shop. Now you know. They have a 3D printer, laser cutters, whatever you need done, you can get it done at Hamill Machine Shop. I know these guys with the old cars, sometimes they need a part they can't find in that. Hey, if you've got the part, take it to Hamill. They can reverse engineer it for you and build you a brand new one. Unbelievable the work they do there. So it's your go-to. Now, if you want to know everything about what they do, you just have to go to their website, hamillmachine.ca. You get all the information you need. I mean, Jody was in there and he said he needed some work done for his build down on Bridge Street. He went to Hamill Machine Shop to get it done. So anything, before you go buy new, before you spend a fortune, or before you throw it out even, go to Hamill Machine Shop. They can help you. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And thank you so much for supporting our sponsors, because they support the show and they do a lot of big things in the community. All of our sponsors are community involved. They give back, and it's great to see that people support them. Okay, so Sleazy Hunter's not immune. Sleazy Hunter could be going to jail on state charges. Who knows? Let's take a jump over to the Ukraine, because it's getting really goofy over there now. Korea said it wants to send 100,000 troops to Russia. And, you know, they can do it. They can do it. They have a standing army of 1.5 million people. And they probably have a reserve army of a lot more. And they can muster up a lot more than 100,000 if they need it. Now, long-range rockets were approved by Biden to be used by the Ukraine. And it was because of the troops, the 10,000 troops North Korea deployed to Russia to help them out. Well, now with this 100,000, who knows what's going to happen? But the Ukraine has been bombing spots in Russia, and they're making progress in Crimea with all these new long-range missiles they can fire. This thing is escalating fast, a lot faster than we'd like to see it, because at the end of the day, I think Trump can straighten this out. I don't know if he's going to have time before he gets in the office, the way these guys are going. Everyone wants to see it end. They want the killing to stop. It's going to depend on when Trump can have a serious talk with him. I know he's talking with him now the best he can, but he can't make any decisions. So if he can hold them all off until January 20th, there's a shot. Stay tuned. Look at the news, because things are escalating in the region fast. And anything can break out at any time. You know, it's a powder keg over there, just like it is in the Middle East. Now, this is good to see. It appears Walmart is dropping its woke agenda, getting rid of all of its DEI policies. They've seen the writing on the wall. When Trump gets elected, a lot of this DEI and this woke agenda, let's call it that for now, it's going by the wayside. And a lot of American companies, big ones, including Ford, Boeing, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Black & Decker, Caterpillar, and Tractor Supply, they're abandoning these inclusive initiatives. They've had enough. And the people have made a clear voice at the election that they want to get rid of this woke agenda. Things are changing. People are changing. Their attitudes are changing. They don't want this anymore. And Trump's going to get rid of a lot of it. He's getting rid of the transgenders in women's sports, men and women's sports, men and women's change rooms. He's getting rid of the transgender, what do you call that, agenda in schools. There's not going to be any more of this convincing kids little boys are girls and girls are boys and letting them have puberty blah. That's all going by the wayside. It's all done. It's over. The voters spoke clearly about it. So Walmart's dropping its DEI policies and dropping quotas for working with suppliers that are majority owned by women, minorities, veterans, and alphabet community members. So that's what they were going to. We're only going to buy products from this certain group or that certain group. Well, that's all out the window now. It's done. And they're going to start removing alphabet people merchandise that it deems inappropriate from the shelves, including certain books, chest binders for transgenders, and that's it. They're done with it. And it's not going to renew its 5-year, $100 million commitment to the Center for Racial Equality. So they're going on the premise that affirmative action doesn't work, DEI doesn't work, people will be hired and they will be fired on performance, on merit. It's called a meritocracy, where you're promoted on merit, not because you're a black woman or a gay woman or anything else, or a gay man. You are going to be promoted. You are going to be done it on your merit. If you can do the job and you're the best qualified, you're good to go. And if you're not, we're not gonna go to the minority or you're black or you're whatever, East Indian. It doesn't matter anymore. So they're also going to cease providing company data to human rights campaigns that tracks the treatment of gay, lesbian, and trans employees, and is going to review company participation and funding for pride events. So they used to report stuff to the Human Rights Campaign, company data as to how many they hire and how they're being treated and that kind of thing. Not anymore. That's all over with. The Trump effect. We call it the Trump effect, but it's not the Trump effect. It's the common sense. Common sense is coming back. Men don't belong in women's sports. Men don't belong in women's bathrooms. Men don't belong in women's change rooms. And you know what really makes me laugh? You get on TikTok and you see all these transgenders, and a lot of them are passable. I mean, seriously, if they walked into a room where you were, you wouldn't know if it was a man or a woman. So why don't these people just shut the hell up? And if they want to use the woman's bathroom, go ahead. Nobody's going to bust them. They don't even know. They don't even know. They wouldn't even know. You go into a stall, do your business, and get the hell out. Now, if they walked into a men's bathroom, they'd be going, what the hell is this? But they could walk, if they just be quiet. Quit trying to push people to arguments about it. Go in, do your business. Nobody's going to say anything. And the same with women transitioning to be a man. They've got their beards. They've got their men clothes on. They've had operations. If you can pass, go in and be quiet. Go in and be quiet. Just don't say nothing. Nobody's going to bug you. It's the ones who go in there and put on a show, just waiting for somebody to say, you can't be in here. This is a man's bathroom, or this is a woman's bathroom, and you're a man. That's what they do. They try to egg everybody on and get in these arguments. No, be quiet and do what you got to do. Nobody's going to call you out. Nobody's going to bug you. You start acting up, yeah, people are going to bug you and throw you out. Maybe worse. You don't want that to happen. Let people be what they want to be, but don't push it on kids. And don't push it on people that aren't interested. Be what you want to be. Nobody's going to bug you. And for those who do, well, you're idiots. They have a right to live the way they want. to live the lifestyle they want. You have no right to tell them they can't. Just like they have no right to put their views or what they want on you. You want me to call you Jennifer? I'll call you Jennifer. That's a name. My dog could be called Jennifer. You want me to use he, she, they, them, or recognize you as anything but a man? That might not happen because I don't live in your fantasy world, and you can't expect me to live in that fantasy world. Other than that, these companies are finding out woke and go broke. A lot of these companies found that out, and they're finding it out more and more every day. So Walmart's starting it, and a lot of other big companies are. The woke agenda is over, and once Trump gets in, it's even go further down the tubes, and we won't have to put up with these whack jobs anymore. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm done. We're at 1 o'clock here. Don't forget my sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Make sure it's the Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza. They're the good one. I don't think the other one's open anymore anyway. And Hamel Machine Shop. If you got anything you need fixed, you got to take it to Hamel. They're the guys to talk to. Bob Benner over there, great guy, great company, good people. Been in business since 1948. Believe me, they're experts at what they do. And that's it. See you tomorrow. Absolutely, with John Fillion, my co-host. We talk all Habs all show. I know a lot of you people out there won't be interested in that, and I get it. But for those Hab fans out there who want to know what's going on, we'll give you the lowdown. We'll review the games, and we'll give you what's up. Thursday is going to be Straight Talk Thursday. We're going to go more into a lot of the stuff we talked about today, and any new stuff that comes up about council, about region, about their budgets. Anytime somebody tries to pick your pocket in government, I'd like to be there to talk about it. Believe me. And so does Jody Burnett and John Ringo Beam. And there's a lot of us out here. There's a lot more than people think. People are interested. They're becoming more aware all the time. And that's what we need. So next election, we can get rid of the dead wood, get some people in there who know what the hell they're doing, get more than 27% out, and give Niagara Falls the council they deserve. Anyway, I'm out of here. Take care. Have a great day. Don't forget to support our sponsors. And be careful. And batten down. We're supposed to be getting some snow. See you later. Have a great day.